the elites have never accepted the fact that populist conservatives and economic nationalists around the globe are on the rise. Here in the U.S., think about it. The deep state rose up against Trump during and after the election by using informants, the FISA court, surveillance powers, and a special counsel investigation, 2 years, $35 million, to try to oust him from office. In the end, we're going to find out that the Obama DOJ did a lot more to hurt America than some pathetic Russian hackers ever could. And ever since Trump was elected, the global establishment has suffered from wishful thinking syndrome.
A huge blow to the wave of populism that helped sweep Donald Trump into office.
Nationalism versus globalism, and in this case, the growing tide of populism appears to have receded.
No question this was a big blow to what's being called know-nothing populism.
You can't look at this election in any other way but to see it as a repudiation of Trump.
Oh, whoops. How can so many people get paid to be so consistently wrong? And they're supposed to be experts. Of course, you might have heard over the weekend, populists, nationalists made stunning gains in the EU elections, especially in Britain. Now, remember, 3 years ago, Nigel Farage of the UKIP party forced a referendum where the voters chose to leave the European Union, the so-called Brexit. But ever since then, the establishment parties have done everything in their power to slow things down or just to try to thwart the will of the people altogether. And now, 2 prime ministers later, the people still don't have their independence from the bureaucrats in Brussels. Well, just 6 weeks ago, Farage came back out of retirement and founded the Brexit Party. And in a stunning rebuke of the old Labour and Conservative parties, it won nearly 32% of the vote and captured 29 seats in the European Parliament, with the other parties basically obliterated. It was the worst national election for Theresa May's Conservative Party ever. Well, like the Trump victory back in 2016, Farage led an insurgent campaign, and he stuck to his message: the UK wants out of the EU.
Well, at the end of the day, it's about what voters want, and I think either the Conservative or Labour parties take us towards Brexit, or they're going to have to be replaced. It's as simple as that.
In France, Marine Le Pen's National Rally Party beat out Macron's pro-EU centrist party, winning the most French seats at the EU. Nationalists in Italy also took the most seats. And all over Europe, people are demanding their freedom from the international shackles put on by faraway regulators who don't know and can't respond to their country, their people, or their needs. Now, while most are fine to have strong economic relationships with their member nations, the populists, the more economic nationalists among them, still want to retain their language, their borders, and their own unique culture. And when you read the New York Times, though, or CNN, you listen to them, they always use the phrase anti-immigrant or far-right parties made the gains. Almost invariably, that description is false. Again, the slime is being thrown at Trump or Salvini or Le Pen or Viktor Orban in Hungary, and it's meant only to denigrate, not to advance an actual debate about how to improve people's standard of living. Time after time, rather than listen to the people and use these moments as an opportunity to learn and change, instead the global elites just run in the other direction. And I think of Angela Merkel, the woman responsible for Europe's admission of 1 million plus refugees. And let's face it, that has been a disaster from Italy to Sweden and everywhere in between. Now, the German chancellor seems to have learned nothing, and she answered a reporter's question, and that reporter was equally in denial.
Under your nearly 15 years in power, in some cases, those dark old demons have risen again.
Germany can and will not uncouple itself from developments we see all over the world. We see this in Germany as well. But in Germany, obviously, they always have to be seen in a certain context, in the context of our past, which means we have to be that much more vigilant than others. We have to tell our young people what history has brought over us and others, and these horrors.
The horrors. Well, in other words, if you voted for a populist or nationalist party, you're essentially, in some way, empathizing with what, Hitler or Hitler in waiting? It's ridiculous. Italian Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini, who led the Italian populist nationalists to historic gains in the EU, had the perfect response.
Quindi Italia, Francia, Inghilterra è il segno di un'Europa che cambia. Il voto degli altri popoli europei ha dato un mandato chiaro: l'Europa dei tagli e della disoccupazione è fallita. È stato bocciato Tsipras in Grecia, la Merkel, Macron, Theresa May. Ovunque l'Europa della precarietà e della disoccupazione è stata bocciata.
Yeah, the elites are being rejected because they failed. They've been routed. And worse results are coming their way because they refuse to hear the voters. Now, as Trump has shown here at home, a strong, muscular approach on trade, lower taxes, fewer regulations, and a foreign policy based in prudent realism, it's all paying off. Check out our economy compared to Europe's. Basically, no comparison whatsoever. Look at that. EU, 1.5% GDP. U.S., 3.2% GDP. Unemployment, about, well, almost double in Europe. Translation, Trump's policies work, as the European model barely limps along. No wonder the European voters are restless. Look for more big moves against the old guard to come. In 2020 and beyond, the fight has just begun. And that's The Angle.